go ahead and get started then. Thank you everyone for going. It's definitely good. We had an online version today as pretty snowy everywhere, I feel. And we're just gonna ask today that we keep all questions until the end, or you can type it in the chat as well, and we will get to it at the end of the presentation. And my name is Sarah, and I'm joined here with.
Hi, everyone. My name's Emily.
And we're here from the Addison County Solid Waste Management District, and today we're going to be talking about special recycling, and we like to call it thinking outside of the blue bin. So starting off with an overview of what we will cover. First of all, we're going to start with what are special materials and what can be brought to the district transfer station and why, what to do with those special items, what items are banned from the landfill and the blue bin. And then we're going to end with all about hazardous waste. So starting off with what is special waste. Special waste is materials and items that can't go into your blue bin, but can be recycled elsewhere. And some of these items may also be banned from the landfill. And special waste makes up 26% of all that goes into our landfill. And Vermont only has one landfill, so we need to save space and make sure we are recycling of all that special waste properly and keeping it out of the landfill. And then moving on, we have ways to reduce your waste, which is the first step before learning how to recycle items. And one way to reduce your waste is to look for cleaner products. And one way to look for cleaner products is to look out for EPA's Safer Choice label, which is shown over to the right. And this label pretty much shows if a product has safer ingredients, and safer ingredients for not only you and your family, but also for the environment as well. And another thing to look for is the Environmental Working Group verification. And one way to look for that is on their website, which is ewg.org. And this label just shows also a way to make sure that those products have safer ingredients. And you can go on their website and look for all different types of products and search any product and see what is inside of them, what ingredients they're using, and if they are safe or not. And then another way to reduce your waste is to donate first. And we recommend donating items like books, clothing, furniture, or paint. If those items are in usable condition still, we recommend donating them first. But if they're not in usable condition, we also take all those items at the district transfer station. So now moving on for our special recycling, we have batteries, and all batteries are now banned from the landfill in Vermont. So what can we do with them? First, you can always bring them to the transfer station in Middlebury. Pictured here are our bins that we have at the transfer station, where you can put any batteries into, including cell phones. And we just ask that those batteries are kept loose and you don't need to tape them or bag them up or anything. You can just put them into these bins loose as is. And then another place you can bring batteries are local businesses. I know Aubuchon or UPS stores in our area accept batteries. And we have a full list of those businesses on our website, so you can always visit our A to Z guide for more info. And we at the transfer station work with a company called Call to Recycle. They take in all of our batteries and sort them out by the different materials that those batteries are made up of. And they sell them to processors, which extract all different types of materials like nickel, cobalt, lead, iron, zinc, and copper. And those materials can be recycled and used for new items. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what to do if you find a swollen or puffy battery and how to stay safe while managing these properly. These are a huge fire hazard, so we do recommend handling them with gloves or with eye protection as well, just to be on the safe side. And if you do come across a swollen or puffy battery, we recommend putting it into a fire-safe material like kitty litter, sand, or vermiculite as soon as possible, just to prevent from any sparks or flames, and then bringing it to the district transfer station just to be sure to stay safe. And then we also take books at the transfer station. We take hardcover and softcover books. Just no spiral bound books like metal or plastic spiral bound. The books must be clean and dry if you are going to bring them to the district transfer station. And we also, again, recommend donating those if they're in good condition. And you may not put any hardcover books in your blue bin, as they have a special glue that binds them together that makes them not recyclable in your blue bin, but they can come to the transfer station. And then one note is that magazines, flyers, newspapers, brochures, and catalogs are blue bin recyclable. And then moving on, we have CFC containing material, or chlorofluorocarbons, or you may know it as Freon materials. So that is things like refrigerators, freezers, window air conditioners, water fountains, vending machines, or dehumidifiers, basically any item that changes temperature. And so all of those items can come to the transfer station to be disposed of safely and properly. And then moving on, we have electronic waste. It's a very big category. There's a lot of different electronic waste that can come to the transfer station. But some of the most common household electronic waste items are things like computers, printers, TVs, electronic game consoles, landline wireless phones or telephones, DVD players, VCRs, stereo equipment, and power cords and chargers, or any just miscellaneous cords. Over on the right is where we take electronics in at the district transfer station. And I think shown here is a projector and a laptop. We also take things like iPads, Nooks, Kindles, any electronics. And then moving on, we have mercury lamps. So this is any mercury containing bulbs like fluorescent light bulbs and tubes, or compact fluorescent light bulbs like CFLs, or other specialty lamps. If you are unsure of how to dispose of the light bulb at all, you can always contact us and we can make sure that you're disposing of it safely and properly. And then we also take in string lights. So small bulb string lights, like the little fairy lights, are accepted as scrap metal, and then large bulb string lights are accepted as electronic waste, like C7 and C9 bulbs. And then moving on, we have our plastic bags and film program. This is probably our most complicated program at the district transfer station. So we're going to take you through that. And I know a lot of you had questions about that. So we will hopefully answer some of those. So one thing to look for when seeing if your item is recyclable in this program is the how to recycle label. And this label shows how to prep the material. In this case, it is recycle if it is clean and dry. And then the recyclability, so this is the store drop-off label, which is different from just going into your blue bin. That means it can be accepted into other programs, like the one at the district transfer station. And then the type of material, which is plastic. And then the packaging component, which in this case is wrap, or over on the right, we also have plastic bag, which is also accepted. And another thing to look for can be the chasing arrows or the resin code on your item. So we're looking for number 2 or number 4 plastics. So if you see these two numbers and these symbols on the material and is a stretchy plastic, it is generally accepted in the program. And now I have a couple examples of commonly accepted items. So this is things like newspaper bags, bubble wrap, cereal bags, plastic grocery bags, plastic Ziploc sandwich or snack bags, dry cleaning bags, plastic produce bags, any case wrap like the plastic water bottle wrap or the paper towels wrap, shipping labels or shipping envelopes without labels, red bags, and then the plastic pallet wrap as well. And on this slide, we have a couple of examples of not accepted items, and all of these are common contamination in our program. So this is things like snack or candy pouches, any food or snack wrap like the cheese wrap, salad or lettuce plastic bags, any fruit plastic bags like grape or sometimes cherries are in these type of plastic bags, any pet food pouches, any chip or snack bags that have a foil lining, any thick plastic snack bags like the pretzel bag, and then any dried fruit or nut pouches as well. And then another way to see if your item is accepted is doing the stretch test or the thumb test. As shown in this little video here, that material is stretching before it is breaking. So that is a telltale sign that it is accepted in our program. So if you can stretch that material, it is accepted. But if the material breaks easily, or if it's too tough to break, it is generally not accepted. And then a few other notes to remember is to always cut out paper labels. And we don't accept woven bags, and we do not accept multi-layer bags.
Great. Thank you, Sarah, for going over the first half of this. I'm now going to start with the second half and talk a little bit about pressurized cylinders. So sometimes items cannot go in regular waste streams such as trash or recycling because they are dangerous. In the case of pressurized cylinders, they have the potential to explode in the wrong waste stream. If they're punctured in the wrong way, all of that pressure inside has the potential to release. So we want to make sure that we are handling pressurized cylinders properly. We take in empty cylinders at the district transfer station, and the most common items under this category are going to be things like propane tanks, fire extinguishers, or other tanks with refrigerants. It's also things like your gas tanks or small camping fuel tanks. For some fire extinguishers, they actually can be refilled. This often is said on the fire extinguisher itself or on the manufacturer's page, so that's something to check out. But otherwise, we would ask that you bring any pressurized cylinder to our district transfer station for disposal. Moving on, we have our first and only TerraCycle program for razors. TerraCycle is a company whose mission is to find ways to recycle what we call hard to recycle items, or items that can't go in the regular blue bin recycling stream, but maybe there's a chance of recycling them. TerraCycle has programs for many different items, including things like chewing gum. So they really try their best to find ways to recycle items. Our razor blade program can take in razor blades, full razors, or razor packaging from any brand of razor blade. So it doesn't matter if it's a drugstore brand, a fancy one, or even the old style razor blades themselves, it's welcome to come into our razor blade program. Similar to razor blades, because they're both metal, we have scrap metal. So as far as scrap metal goes, we take in any item that is 80% or more metal. What does that mean? Well, it's a lot of different things. It's small bulk string lights, it's bicycles, it's some appliances, it's grills, metal clothes hangers, exercise equipment, paper shredders, satellite dishes, filing cabinets, lawn mowers, nails, bolts, and nuts. A lot of different things as long as they are majority made up of metal. I will say we do have a rule here in our district where we ask people to separate out any item that is larger than 25 pounds from the trash if it's made of metal. So we have a scrap metal program available at the district transfer station in order to handle that. Moving on, we have one of our newest programs, which is our textile recycling program. So with textiles, we do ask before anything comes to our transfer station that people first look to local secondhand stores to see if they are able to donate any good quality textiles to them. We do keep an updated list of local secondhand stores on our website, and you can always call them and ask for donation guidelines. We also ask that for things like towels, blankets, or fleece, that you look to local animal shelters. Often, a lot of local animal shelters will take in those towels, blankets, or fleece and use them as bedding material for the pups or other animals that come into their shelters. If those places are not accepting donation items, or if your item is stained or ripped, or maybe is missing a button, that can come to us as long as it is clean, dry, and odorless. So getting into that a little bit more, everything has to be clean, dry, and odorless. And it also has to be in a plastic bag that can seal or tie shut. This is for a couple of reasons. While we want to trust that everyone is bringing in clothing that isn't moldy or has another vector on it, like a bed bug, we cannot be 100% sure. The plastic bag that can tie shut prevents any mold or other vectors from spreading to all of the donations that we get in until our textile bin is picked up. The plastic bags also have another reason, and that has to deal with weather. Our transfer station is almost entirely outdoors, and our bin is not immune to weather events like rain or snow. The inside of the bin does get a little bit wet if it is raining or snowing, and that plastic bag that can tie shut keeps those clothes dry, which is again, one of our guidelines for textiles: clean, dry, and empty. From there, we have our yeses. So what can you put in this program? Well, it's things like clothing, it's your shoes, as long as they're in pairs, and any accessory. No's, and these are some things that we commonly get in, even though they're not accepted in this program, are things like pillows, quilts, comforters, mattresses, mattress toppers or pads, scrap fabric, and stuffed animals. All of this is contamination in this program and would typically have to go to the trash if it cannot be recycled. So keep in mind, only bring in those clothing, shoes, and accessories. For our textiles, we work with a company called Apparel Impact, and they do a couple of different things with those textiles. First, those really good quality clothes that come into our program, they'll get reused. Apparel Impact partners with a lot of local communities to make those clothes go from one person to another person so they can continue being worn past the time one person wants to dispose of it. The lesser quality clothes, so let's say it's something a little bit torn, that will get upcycled. Upcycled is turning something from one item into another. So a great example of that is taking a jean jacket and turning it into a new pair of shoes. That's upcycling. Clothes that are lesser in quality than what would get upcycled gets downcycled. Downcycling for textiles is basically shredding the textiles and taking those fibers and turning it into a stuffing material. Sometimes this is auto fluff, sometimes it's rags, sometimes it's materials that's used to stuff couches, just depends. But your clothing will go to 3 options: the reuse, the upcycling, or the downcycling. Moving on, we have tires. So tires are also banned from the landfill, and we take in tires with or without rims. So you do not have to remove any rim from your tire before bringing it to our transfer station. Now we have another large category, your yard waste. So with your yard waste, the first thing to know is that it can be composted. If you have a lot of leaves that fall, you can put it in your backyard compost pile, and it is a great source of browns to combine with your greens and eventually turn into a nutrient-rich fertilizer for your garden. From there, if you have too much yard waste and you can't compost it on site, there are a couple different drop-off locations for leaf and yard waste in Addison County. I will mention our new residential drop-off facility in New Haven does accept leaf and yard waste from any district resident. You can also bring leaf and yard waste to the district transfer station in Middlebury. Kind of in the same vein is going to be clean wood. So we take in any natural wood, including trees, branches, wood chips, lumber, and brush that's never been painted, stained, glued, or treated. If it has been painted, stained, glued, or treated in any way, that would have to come in as trash and it wouldn't be part of our clean wood program. We also take in stumps at the district transfer station. We have some guidelines, so any large brush or logs that are larger than 6 inches in diameter, we just ask that they're cut up into 16-inch lengths. Moving on, we have a little bit more difficult category to handle underneath organic plant material, and that's your diseased, noxious, and invasive plants. The first thing to keep in mind when managing these types of materials is to stop the spread of any of those diseases, those noxious plants, or invasive plants. So first and foremost, we recommend handling all of this material on your own site before you ever move it off-site elsewhere. I would like to highlight a really great website and resource, vtinvasives.org. This website lists almost every single invasive species found in the state of Vermont, and it has a lot of really helpful advice to learn how to control or kill the populations on your own property before transporting it. If it comes to the point where you cannot handle that material on your own property, we then would ask that you contact us directly. We can take in loads of diseased, invasive, or noxious plants, but we like to talk to people beforehand because guidelines when it comes to diseased, noxious, or invasive plants sometimes are changing. So we would just like to touch base with you to kind of get a sense of the species that you're dealing with in order to find the best option for managing it. There's two options. One, they will either add to our leaf and yard waste pile where they will get hot composted. We work with a local composting facility that can kill all of those weed seeds and destroy the plants and diseases. Or the second option, as a last resort, would be double bagging any disease, noxious, or invasive plants and sending it directly to the landfill. But in order to find the best option, again, we recommend contacting us. Moving on, we have ashes. So wood and coal ash actually can be disposed of in your regular household garbage as long as it's cold. If you're handling that option, we do recommend wetting any ashes down, just again to prevent any fires from happening in the garbage waste stream. Cold ashes are also welcome to be brought to the district transfer station for disposal. And you might not know this, but some types of ash material, such as from wood stoves or fire pits, can be composted in your backyard compost pile. But keep in mind that ash material will change the pH of your compost pile, so you would then have to do some other things to help manage your compost pile, knowing that this ingredient is changing how your compost pile is functioning. Now we have what we call sharps, but you might know as needles and syringes. I will first and foremost say that these items should never be placed in your recycling bin. Needles and syringes are not able to be recycled. We have a list of options that we tell people to go through in order to handle these materials, starting with contacting their doctor. Your doctor might be able to supply you with a disposal option for any sharps. If they don't, we then move down to step number 2, which is finding some sort of hard plastic container, a great example being a laundry detergent bottle, and filling that up with your used needles and other sharps. We do ask that if you are using a laundry detergent bottle for your sharps, you keep it capped while out of use. And we also ask that you keep it out of the reach of children and also out of the reach of any pets. Once the bottle is full, we ask that it gets capped tightly, probably duct tape around the cap as well to make sure nothing comes out. And then you label it with a warning label that says sharps, do not recycle. We have an example on the screen here of the sharp sticker that we have available. We give this out at the district transfer station for free if you are in need of any sharps sticker. Before putting this in your household garbage, we ask that you call your garbage hauler to let them know you are putting in a sharps container. And once that's done, the final step is placing the filled, sealed, and labeled bottle just in your regular household trash. That goes to say, sometimes we handle items that are a little bit dangerous, which brings us to hazardous waste. A lot of households have what we call household hazardous waste. In order to tell if you are dealing with some sort of item that has hazardous or dangerous ingredients inside of it, the perfect way to identify it is a warning label. So if you see something that says danger, poison, warning, caution, toxic, exclamation point, skull and crossbones, danger, hazardous materials, or anything that says hazardous waste, that's a telltale sign that you are dealing with some household hazardous waste. There's a lot of different common items that are household hazardous waste, and we'll get into that in our next couple of slides. So starting off, we have pesticides and insecticides. Common examples of this are herbicides, weed killers, insecticides, rodent poisons, fertilizers, or any wood preservations. If you think about these items, a lot of them are meant to kill some sort of species. So if you think about that a little bit more, if it gets into our environment or is put in the wrong waste stream, it can have some really harmful and negative effects. So it's really important that we handle any pesticides or insecticides in the proper place, which would be bringing any household hazardous waste to our Haz Waste Center at the district transfer station. The next category is household cleaners. There are a lot of household cleaners that have dangerous ingredients inside of them, therefore making household cleaners needing to be managed as household hazardous waste. Great examples are ammonia, anything with bleach in it, anything with chlorine bleach, Drain openers, furniture polish, oven cleaners, rug and upholstery cleaners, tub and tile cleaners. All of these items are household hazardous waste and needs to be managed as such. And I would also like to point out on this slide that we like to opt for cleaner products when able. That's why at the beginning of this presentation, Sarah talked about ways to find cleaner products, such as the Environmental Working Group, EWG, or looking for the EPA Safer Choice label on your product. This means that your product was made with ingredients that are not only safer for you, but also safer for the environment. We might be having a separate workshop later in the year just on creating cleaner household cleaners. So keep an eye out for that. Next up, we're going back to mercury-containing devices. So Sarah already did a great job talking about the light bulbs that may contain mercury, but there's more items that you may come into contact with in your own home that contains mercury. Mercury is a neurotoxin. It is an extremely harmful material to humans and the environment. It's very highly toxic, so we want to make sure we are managing it properly. Mercury-containing bulbs have mercury. Thermostats have mercury, neon signs or manometers. And if you're ever confused if you have a product that contains mercury or not, please reach out to us and we will walk you through it. I'd like to call out that one product that has mercury inside of it actually has a bounty on it. Thermostats, the old style, contain mercury, and there is a $5 rebate in the state of Vermont. So if you bring back those old style, think Honeywell thermostats, to our transfer station, fill out a piece of paperwork, it will get mailed off, and eventually you will actually get $5 for managing this properly. So that's a pretty decent amount of money. I would definitely recommend, if you ever have a mercury-containing device, to bring it to us so we can handle it. Moving on, we have paint. So oil-based paint may never go into the trash. However, latex-based paint may be thrown away in the trash if it is allowed to completely dry out. If it's still wet, it is welcome to come to our Haz Waste Center. In the state of Vermont, we have a product stewardship program called Paint Care. And Paint Care processes all of our old paint so it can be used as fuel, made into other products, or properly disposed of if there's no other use. We also take in things like paint thinner, paint removers, stains, and varnishes. All of this is our most common form of household hazardous waste, believe it or not. That can come to the Haz Waste Center. Sometimes some other organizations, like with batteries, also are partners with Paint Care, so you might be able to bring your paint to hardware stores as well. Moving on, we have motor oil and automotive fluids. So this is welcome to come to our Haz Waste Center. Any gear oil, hydraulic fluid, motor oil, power steering fluid, transmission fluid, or bar and chain oil can come to the Haz Waste Center at the district transfer station. I'd like to point out on this slide that a really common question we get when dealing with this category of products is, can I get my container back? The answer is yes, you can. We just ask that you allow a ACSWMD staff member to pour off the container itself and give it back to you. That being said, with everything that is household hazardous waste, if the container is completely empty, it can go in your household trash. However, if there is any product remaining inside of that container, it needs to come to the Haz Waste Center. Even if it is a plastic container, anything made from plastic cannot be recycled if it contained hazardous materials inside of it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Emily. We also just wanted to share that we are looking for volunteers for our repair fair on Saturday, April 5th. This is a free community event where community members can bring in broken items and come to get them repaired by our awesome volunteers. So if you have any skills in appliance repair, sewing and darning, woodworking, bike repair, jewelry or watch repair, tool sharpening, or any other repair skills, or if you just want to be a general volunteer, you can contact me. My email is up here, or you can sign up on our website. It is greatly appreciated. And with that, you can always visit our A to Z guide for more information. Our website is up here, and this is what the A to Z guide looks like. And it has more details over what we went on what we went over today, and then as well as some other items as well on there. And you can always reach out to us as well, as we have our phone number up here, or you can reach out to any of the following emails, and we would love to talk to you. And we will now also be answering any questions if you guys have any.